Hey, I'm NeverLag, and this is every game I played in February. Was I forced to play more Ship of Fools? Was I equally not forced to play more Wuthering Waves, but did that anyway? Hey, don't worry about all that, man. Let's just get to the games that matter. And honestly, what could matter more than a cheeky little update on Brave Escape? Because I know all you sickos out there have been waiting for the past 30 days with with bated breath to find out, did little brother and I get back to this game? And I am thrilled to report that we most certainly did. The co-op saga continues, and I gotta say, this game is freaking hard. Everything is trying to kill you. The lightning is trying to kill you, the anti-gravity is trying to kill you, the lava, obviously, trying to kill you. At one point, little bro turns into an Easter Island head guy for some reason, and in that moment, it feels like even he is trying to kill me. So, I mean, there's even a trophy for 5,000 deaths in this game, and we just crossed the 2,500 mark, I believe, so well on our way. Plenty of deaths to come. But yeah, we completed Worlds 3 and 4, and which were essentially lightning and lava. Each world consists of 30 levels to complete, culminating in kind of like a boss level you're seeing here, where you have to race against the clock to complete the level. Just adding that extra tension, making it that much harder. And oh my god, let me tell you, these levels are by far the hardest in the game, as they should be, but we're talking over 100 attempts for both of the final levels we completed this month in Worlds 3 and 4. And, there were moments we thought we might cry. We considered retirement briefly. Breaks were taken. Blame was thrown around. But at the end of it all, there was victory. And it was oh so sweet. So, there's your Brave Escape update. It is very hard. Lots of pain. Only play this with someone you are ready to test your relationship with, because this is no joke. We have 2 worlds left to complete, and I'm scared. Moving on to game number 2, we have Mio, Memories in Orbit. Mio was initially revealed at a Nintendo Direct about 2 to 3 years ago, and I was immediately hooked by the visual presentation of this game. I wishlisted it, was very excited. Fast forward about a year and a half ago, a demo came out, and after trying that, it honestly mostly killed my excitement for this game. At the time, the intro to the world felt very empty and cold. The movement felt floaty and imprecise. And so here we are. I have no idea if they were just able to improve the game that much over the past year, or if I was just wildly off base. But either way, I am thrilled to be proven wrong, because Mio Memories in Orbit is a very good game. The first thing to note is that the art style for this game is obviously stunning. It's very unique, with a highly stylized, low texture, almost paper-like look to the world that really just jumps off the page. Haha. But in all seriousness, after 100%ing the game, I can personally attest to the fact that this game is much more than its cool art style. For starters, this is just a sound and polished feeling Metroidvania. Everything from the art design to the UI, the map, the movement, it all feels tightly crafted and refined. The world is vast and interconnected with plenty of secrets, as you would expect. And the areas that you explore have plenty of visual variety that fully leverage the unique art style to create memorable sci-fi locations. When it comes to the premise of the game, you play as Mio, and true to classic protagonist tropes, Mio has no memories. And so you wake to a massive space station in crisis, drifting through space, and the story follows that mystery. What happened to the space station? What was its goal? What was its destination? What went horribly wrong, and can it be fixed? In the pursuit of this, you venture out to bring the various systems of the vessel back online. Mechanically, I would say Mio has a very similar charm upgrade system to something you would find in the original Hollow Knight, where you have a certain amount of slots, and you can mix and match various charms, or in this case chips, to create a playstyle that fits what matters to you. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that system works really well in games like this. When it comes to the upgrades you'll be getting to your movement throughout the game, a lot of it is standard to start. You're going to get your double jump and things like that. But I will say that later on, the abilities you unlock are truly innovative and different from what we see in other games. I don't want to spoil any of them here, but they are some of my favorite movement abilities in any Metroidvania I've played. They make the later stages of exploring this world feel unique to move through, and all of the abilities flow incredibly well in and out of each other. Combat only further adds to this flow by really focusing on movement and positioning to great effect. There's no contact damage, which is a refreshing change in my opinion, and all abilities operate on an energy system. Once energy is depleted, you have to refill it either by staying on the ground for a few seconds or by striking an enemy. This creates a really neat skill ceiling loop of learning how to use your energy, knowing when you're out of energy, and making sure that it's replenished for the next move you make. Sometimes all without ever touching the ground. By the end of the game, all of this was clicking really well for me. It felt so good to move through the world and to fight enemies in a completely different way than I did at the start of the game. The platforming in later sections of the game offered true skill checks for that movement as well, in a way that is probably as close as I've ever experienced to the Path of Pain outside of Hollow Knight. When it comes to enemy design, I would also say that it's excellent. The basic enemies offer a decent amount of variety, and I just really like the design of the enemies in this game, especially the boss fights. I mean, just look at this dude. This is the first boss in the game, Aegis, and look, he's taunting me. What a beast. Love that guy. But yeah, there's not really a single boss fight in this game that I truly disliked. And there's a good amount of them. Good quantity of good boss fights. The visual designs, the moveset, the mechanics of these fights were all generally great, offered solid challenge to fun ratio. And then there's the music. The boss themes especially are just so good in this game. I mean, just check this out. Oh man, what a banger. I would definitely go raving with Aegis here. He is a homie, and I'm really sad that it had to go down like that, but that's how it goes when you're the first boss. The last thing to touch on is the story, and typically I don't even play these games for the story, but I gotta say, here in Mio, this might be the most invested that I've ever been in a story in a Metroidvania. The world building and the plot were compelling enough that for me, getting the 100% and true ending was less about the achievement and honestly more about seeing this story through to its conclusion. So there you have it. We have all the ingredients here for a truly great game. We have great gameplay, great movement, great combat, awesome art design, art direction, art style, great music, and a truly compelling world to explore. If you had to twist my arm and I had to be critical of something, I would say that there are some boss runbacks that made me roll my eyes a few times. There's really no reason to be designing games with these annoying runbacks in 2026, I would think. But other than that, there were times where it felt like the game could struggle with signposting or properly communicating to the player where to go or how certain areas of the map are accessed. But your mileage is going to vary with this because, as is the nature with these games, it's exploration, it's backtracking, but it was definitely something I noticed a couple of times during my playthrough. But yeah, like I said, I could not be more happy to have been proven wrong about this game, and I think Mio will slot in as a personal top 5 favorite Metroidvania of all time. So if you love Metroidvanias, this is a must play. But even if you're more like me and you just kind of like Metroidvanias, but they need to reach a certain quality bar before they really hit for you, even in that case, Mio is still an easy recommendation. Moving on to game number 3, we have but a humble demo for the game Pragmata. And this game, I thought it was worth mentioning because it comes out later this year, and it looks weird. It just looks weird, but in a good way. It kind of feels like this could be the Stellar Blade of 2026. So I wanted to get fingers on the sticks and just see what this game is actually doing. and I'm fairly pleased to report that it's pretty good. You play as this astronaut exploring, I believe, a space station. Yeah, it's a space station. And you've got this little android girl with you, and it's very much a third-person action shooting game, but the core gimmick is that the little girl can hack into the various enemies that you fight, and that is essentially a little mini game that pops up on your screen. So while you are controlling the astronaut, doing third-person shooting, dodging attacks, you also have to navigate this hacking mini game. And once you complete it, the enemy takes more damage, like significantly more damage. You're going to want to engage with this mechanic throughout the game to make combat much easier. And it really just amounts to a multitasking situation. I don't know. It's compelling. It's interesting. I actually really enjoyed it with my time here in the demo. The demo was very short. It was only like 30 minutes long. But in that time, I came away from it impressed, and I don't know, I wanted to play more of the game, which I guess is a good sign. The only thing that remains to be seen is, does this mechanic of this hacking minigame, can it stand the test of a full-length game, or will it get really old? You know, I can't really say either way after just a half an hour of playing it, but that's my main concern and question heading into this game. Other than that, actually really excited for this. It runs really well. I played the demo on the PS5 Pro. Looks and runs great. It's a very simple game design, I would say, or level design, I guess I would say. More kind of feels like it harkens back to that PS2 era of this is kind of a video game, you know? And I don't know, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it in its simplicity. Its core gimmick was enjoyable for the half an hour I played. And I guess at this point, I'm just looking forward to see how this lands when the full game releases later this year. Alright everybody, we are on to the fourth and final game of February. And that means it's time to talk about Cairn. Holy crap, what a game. What a freaking video game Cairn turned out to be. And not to be that guy, but I was excited for this game before it was cool. I drafted this game in our Fantasy Critic League early last year, January 2025, and when it was delayed, I drafted it again this year in 2026, and even I could not have anticipated just how good this game was going to be. But to start, let me take you back to January in early 2024 when I played a little game called Gisant. And Gisant is massively underrated and you should go play it. But it was then that I immediately fell in love with the gaming concept of climbing a mountain. Much like riding a skateboard in Tony Hawk or driving a race car in Gran Turismo, there is just something so mechanically perfect about the act and feel of climbing a mountain in a video game. So yes, I expected that I was going to like Cairn. I expected this game to be a satisfying, contemplative, and immersive journey, much like Gisant was before it. But where Gisant was this vibrant, saturated fantasy world, it was very clear that Cairn was going for a very different, grounded art style and tone and mechanical depth, something much more granular and technical in its approach to the difficulty of climbing. For example, in Cairn, you control each of your four limbs independently, carefully selecting each movement based on your body position, leverage, and where the best hold is. You have a set amount of pittons that you can place to help save your progress on longer climbs, and while doing all this, you have to also manage stamina, hunger, thirst, and temperature. In order to do that, the game has this lightweight survival and resource management element to it that, in my opinion, it only added to the experience without getting too much in the way. You have a backpack, and the backpack mechanic in particular is a highlight for me. When you open it up, it will have the various items you've collected, but instead of a weight system or a grid-based system that we are accustomed to seeing in most games, Cairn opted for a simpler, if not messier, and ironically more realistic approach, where everything is just kind of jammed into your bag, floating around in your bag. And when you press the right trigger, it will shake the bag around, causing the contents to shift, potentially creating just a little bit more space for that one extra item you're trying to pick up. And that mini game is just a really fun, refreshing take on inventory management that I really enjoyed. The crafting in this game also opts for an equally lightweight approach. You can combine any liquid and any solid into your cooking pot to create a new dish or a new infusion. There are recipes that you can find throughout the world that will reward you with more efficient meals. But other than that, it's just about experimenting, combining new things to see what you get, and honestly just clearing out space in your backpack before the next descent by turning 2 items into 1. So really, that's what it's like to play Cairn in a nutshell. You climb, you gather, you plot, you explore, you survive. Rinse and repeat. This is a game about climbing a mountain, and that's what you're going to be doing like 90% of the time. But what really makes this game special, that goes beyond just the nuts and bolts of how you play it, is the story. It's Ava, her motivations, her obvious flaws, and her sheer determination to reach the summit of Mount Kami at all costs is what really takes this game to the next level. And as I sat there climbing this seemingly insurmountable mountain, I would reflect on this game, this story. Is this a game about passion and determination, the love of something so intensely that it all but consumes you? Or is this a game about depression and isolation and running away from problems? As I played through, I felt all of these emotions come through in different moments, both relating to Ava in the highs and lows, being frustrated with her and her decisions, while also ultimately resonating with her unhealthy obsession to see the summit of Kami. The gameplay further facilitates this emotional immersion by means of its difficulty. This game is not easy. The climbing rewards patience and well thought out movement and route planning. Some climbs can take upwards of 40 minutes, and during that time you're not constantly bombarded by information or someone talking in your ear. It's just you and the mountain, baby, and that allows for time and space to reach somewhat of a flow state where your mind can wander and you contemplate Ava's journey. You contemplate maybe your own journey, your own Mount Kami, whatever that is. And all the while keeping in the back of your mind the fact that as peaceful as this climb might be, one small slip up or loss of concentration would result in a fall. Adding to that constant sense of background tension is the fact that by default this game only saves once you set up a bivouac or a camp, which are located at predetermined points. And because of that, there will 100% be moments where you turn off this game in frustration. There will be moments where you feel the exact same guttural pain in Ava's voice as she screams from frustration after a fall. But on the flip side of that, you will also feel the overwhelming satisfaction and accomplishment of seeing your carefully planned route pay off when you finally reach that next plateau or that next campsite where you can rest up, recharge, take a breath, enjoy the majestic view, look down over everything you just conquered, and bank all of that hard-earned progress. It's so satisfying and perfectly mimics what I can only imagine it must feel like to climb a mountain in real life, though truly I have no idea. But yeah, there's not much more I can say about Cairn. I've been waxing poetic for quite some time. I don't want to spoil things, but I will say that the ending of this game is in fact one of the best emotional payoffs I have experienced in a video game. They legitimately could not have done it better in my opinion, and that sealed this game as an absolute all-timer for me. Cairn is special. Not everyone will have the patience to climb Mount Kami, but I legitimately do think that everyone owes it to themselves to try. So there you have it. That was every game I played in February. Well, not every game, because February is a teeny tiny little baby month, and I was unable to finish a certain other game, which we will talk about in the future. But Other than that, that was every game I played in February. I appreciate you sticking with me, letting me talk about it, and I hope to see you in March.